Before we do anything, it's important to acknowledge that this is the last Sunday of the Women's Lectionary. You all have been privileged to be with it for the last 3 years, and I'm honored that I've had a chance to be with it even just a little while. When it comes to the gospel reading today, ending with Jesus being crucified, I'm so grateful it's not the whole story. We know there's an Easter morning. In the reading, we see Jesus refusing to respond to Pilate upon repeated questioning. Then the text continues, when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not answer. As we know, various reasons for his silence have been put forth. Many people believe Isaiah has prophetic teachings, teaching us who and what the Messiah will be like. They point to Isaiah 53 to understand his silence. Like a lamb that is led to slaughter, like a sheep before his shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. Then Jesus is taken to the Praetorium, which is the Roman governor's official residence, where the soldiers mimic and mock him by dressing him in a scarlet military cloak that serves as a mock royal robe, scarlet being the color that Roman officials wear, and sometimes even the emperor himself. They give him a reed to mimic the royal scepter instead of the golden laurel berry crown. A crown of thorny scrub is placed on his head. Then the soldiers take the reed from him, and in addition to mocking him, they beat him over the head with the reed. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to know what's going to happen if you're beaten over the head while wearing a crown of thorns. There was more mocking, spitting, and beating by both Jewish and Gentile soldiers. Now it's time to go to Golgotha to get crucified. It's customary to add to the shame and pain of being crucified to carry the crossbeam for the walk. The soldiers soon realize that Jesus couldn't possibly do this in the condition that he's in. So here's where we're introduced to Simon of Cyrene. At this point, we really don't know anything about him except that he's from Cyrene. He's just walking along. But the soldiers grab him, pull him out, and say, "You will carry the crossbeam." In preparing for this sermon, I did that Ignatian thing and imagined that I was the one picked to carry the crossbeam. It was so heavy. It was difficult. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it. My mind wandered. The act of picking up the cross of Jesus reminded me of a sermon that I heard Archbishop Desmond Tutu give almost a quarter of a century ago. He's always been one of my heroes, so it was just amazing to be in his presence. Anyway, he said, I always give the same sermon about the love of God and Jesus. But if you really want to be a Christian, you need to pick up the cross, and that may involve suffering. Tutu reminded us that as followers of Jesus, we are called to walk the way of the cross, not as Jesus did. He did that for us once and for all. However, we are called to walk the way of the cross, not because suffering is good, but because sometimes love takes us into hard places. We are called to stand with the accused, the mocked, the suffering, and work for justice, trusting that God's love is stronger than hate, that resurrection follows crucifixion. Then Tutu went on to say, if you really want to pick up the cross, here are a few things you can do. He mentioned 3 things, the first 2 of which I have no recollection about. But then the third one is emblazoned on my brain. He said, if you really want to pick up the cross, you can stand up and support your gay sisters and brothers. I was dumbstruck. Desmond Tutu was saying the Christian thing to do was to stand up for me? A little historical context for all of you youngsters here and watching online. The first legal gay marriage was performed in Massachusetts in 2004. It wasn't nationally recognized in all states until 2015, slightly over a decade ago. So 25 years ago, when I heard this sermon, it was still illegal to be gay in many parts of the country, mostly the South. It was a different world back then for many of us. Then the impossible happened. The laws and the country changed because a lot of people risked coming out, and their families and friends risked supporting them. At age 68, it was finally possible for me to get married anywhere in the United States. I remember, as you do, Dr. King's famous quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Those are great words. But King didn't just talk. He walked the walk along with thousands of others. Jesus was always in front of King. In 1965, after a bloody Sunday where state troopers used tear gas and physical force against the marchers, including King, the country was horrified by the television video reports. It was the push that got the Voting Rights Act approved the same year. He picked up the cross and followed Christ because I believe he knew that arc is not going to bend by itself. So he picked up the cross and followed Jesus to help push the arc of the moral universe toward justice. The impossible became possible. There have been some bright beams of light in the country recently, and I hope that personally, with all the darkness and difficult times that many people are experiencing now, you personally have experienced some, if not a lot, of bright light. But we know a lot of damage has been done, and there are still many folks experiencing hardship, much of which was unnecessary. And I'm only talking about our country. Sometimes, I confess, I feel the weight and the impossibility of the situation in our nation right now. I do get encouraged coming to St. Margaret's. There are so many wonderful things going on here. Charlie's Place, the Mustard Seed Ministry, Sacred Ground, Potlucks Choir, and the rummage sale come immediately to mind. Oh, that rummage sale. I mean, it was my first one, and I've tried to tell people about it, but you really have to see it to believe it. So if there's anyone here who hasn't been to it, come next year. It's fabulous. And of course, it wouldn't have been possible without all the volunteer help and the donations, and the work of the vestry, and our fearless leader, Richard. It's truly been a gift to experience your compassion and competence. And Francisco, our deacon, and Jen, our soon-to-be deacon, and all the other committees, the volunteer positions like the tech team, the greeters, the Eucharistic ministry, vergers, lectors, ushers, the groundskeeper, the people who bake the bread, buy the wine, launder the linen, clean the church, keep track of the finances, and all of you sitting in the pews and watching online. All of these and others are labors of love that probably don't feel like a heavy lift. I know the people involved in these and other aspects of the church. At least I know some of you, and I hope to get to know all of you before long. The point is that whatever is required, no matter how difficult or how great the risk, you will, individually and together, continue to pick up the cross and follow the living light of Jesus Christ. When we do this, miracles happen. The impossible becomes possible. Amen.